Shoulder injuries are much more common in dancers than you would think. Because we generally use more leg and core strength, dancers often forget about strengthening their upper bodies, which can lead to a lot of injuries, especially of the rotator cuff. The rotator cuff muscles consist of the supraspinatus, infraspinatus, teres minor, and subscapularis. These muscles are at a higher risk of injury due to the fact that they pass through the subacromial space between the head of the humerus and the acromion on the end of the clavicle. Most commonly, we see impingement of the shoulder. If it hurts to raise your arm above your head, you might have shoulder impingement. Overuse and strain from fast, repetitive overhead movements cause the muscles to become inflamed and swollen, which result in pinching as the muscles pass underneath the acromion. This causes pain, weakness, and loss of movement in the shoulder. A much more serious shoulder injury is tearing in the tendons of the rotator cuff muscles. In this case, most people physically can't lift their arm above their head because the muscle fibers are disconnected. Rotator cuff tears are generally caused by acute injuries such as falling or repeated abnormal stress on the arm. Tears, whether partial or total, result in a lot of pain and often take months to heal. Both of these shoulder injuries should be treated with rest, ice, anti-inflammatory medication, and physical therapy under the referral of your doctor. In the case of a muscle tear, however, medical attention should be immediately sought, as a total tear often requires surgery to repair.
To help rehabilitate a shoulder impingement or rotator cuff injury, some Pilates reformer exercises can help you regain your strength and recover from your injury in good time. Before starting any of these exercises, make sure both straps are working properly and that you are using 1 to 1.5 springs for each exercise. Depending on the level of pain of the injury, you may increase the resistance by using 2 full springs. The first exercise to help with shoulder impingement and rotator cuff injuries is the internal rotation exercise. Sit on the edge of the reformer with hips and shoulders in line with the shoulder rest. You can cross your legs on the reformer or dangle your feet over the edge. Take the strap that is closest to you and place it in the hand that is closest to the shoulder rest. Place the palm of your hand through the strap, keeping the fingers open, and place your elbow close to your ribs, making a 90-degree angle from the top of the shoulder to the tips of the fingers. Slowly press the palm of your hand towards the center of your body, like closing a door, and release the hand so that the fingertips are pointing directly in front of you. On the inhale, press the palm towards the center and exhale to release to the starting position. Make sure to keep the elbow close to your rib cage. The second exercise is the external rotation. Place the palm of your hand through the strap that is closest to the springs. Make sure the fingers are closed and glued together, still keeping the elbow close to the rib cage and still making a 90-degree angle from the shoulder to the fingertips. Use the outside of the hand to press away from the body and release the hand to bring it towards the center of the body. On the inhale, press the back of the hand away from the body and exhale to release towards the center of the body. Make sure to keep the elbow close to your rib cage. The third exercise is adduction. Grab the strap with the hand that is closest to the shoulder rest and place the elbow so that it is pointing away from the body. With the strap held with the closed fist, pull the strap towards the center of the body and release back, much like an ironing motion. On the exhale, pull the strap towards the center and inhale to release. The last exercise is abduction. Grab the strap with the hand that is closest to the springs and still keep your elbow facing out and away from the body. Continue to hold the strap with the closed fist and pull the strap away from the center of the body, like elbowing the person next to you, and release back. On the inhale, pull the strap away from you and exhale to release. Complete each exercise 5 to 7 times. When one side is completed, repeat all exercises with the other strap. Make sure to keep your core held together when you open and close all positions, as well as sitting in your best posture. It is also important to not let the shoulders or hips torque or compromise while doing all of the exercises. It is just as important to stretch as it is to exercise as well. To properly stretch the rotator cuff, stand in front of a doorway, Place each hand on either side of the doorway and slowly lean forward through the doorway until you feel a slight stretch. Make sure to keep your back straight as you lean and shift your weight into your toes.